Clippers 110, Sixers 98. The Clips take down Philadelphia in the first of two this month here on your Clippers Audio Network.
Welcome back, chat. Clippers win 110-98 over PG-13. Now we're in number 8, and the Philadelphia 76ers here at Intuit Dome. What a performance. Norman Stormin Powell, 26 points on 10 shots, 6 of 8 from 3, and ties a career high with 6 assists. The best player on the floor. Paul George heads out of Intuit Dome in his first game against his former team with a loss. Clipper Nation, way to show up for this one. The wall was spectacular. The chance, the energy level here. Helping power your team back to 500 at 4-4. As Hip to Clip put it. Great victory. Tough night for Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers, who had 20 turnovers. Clippers had their own issues. They had 19. Some of them came late when the reserves, well, they were playing some reserve-like basketball out there. It was a brutal watch the last 4 minutes, but it didn't matter. Clippers put it away early. That's what we like to see. The reverse of what happened against OKC, right? In that game, it was Coach Lou pulling the starters for Jordan Miller, Kobe Brown, and Bones Highland, and Kai Jones and Amir Coffey because the Clippers were down big. This time, the Clippers get up big against a quality opponent. I know they're 1-6 now. Still expect them to be a top 5 team in the East when all things are said and done and Joel Embiid comes back. Jeremy Mormon says, we ain't the B team, we the D team defense. Guys, I'm proud of this squad. Back at 4-4 now. Sacktown. We'll be doing some traveling up north on Friday. Norman Powell has been incredible, living up to everything he said. Addition by subtraction, as he just keeps adding up the points right now. Incredible. Best player on the floor. Best passing game I've seen from him as a Clipper. The Clippers give Paul George a rude welcoming home. They win it Intuit Dome big over their former teammate, 110-98. Welcome into your Clippers postgame show. This is Clippers Locker Room. Coming up, we will have Clippers talk on AM 570 LA Sports. If you want to get on early, 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number, where we are rejoined by your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, just as Coach Lou drew it up, this was, even with some subpar performances, shooting performances by a couple of stars that you expect to be better, the Clippers still had this game over with about 3.5 minutes left. That was impressive.
It was a comfortable, confident group today, Adam, and a comfortable win is what they came away with. I mean, Philadelphia shoots 54% today from the field, and the Clippers were in control the entirety of that fourth quarter. An impressive win for a group that's looking to build some momentum. And you mentioned it out of the San Antonio game, finding how they can win games with their defense. They forced 20 turnovers today and get 27 points off those 20 turnovers. I think Norman Powell continues to be a shining star for this team. 26 points. It's almost at him becoming routine. I mean, it really is. Are we going to be here in game 40 and saying Norman Powell another 20-point game? I hope so, because that's the way he has been playing for this Clipper team. And like you mentioned, James Harden doesn't have his best night, And it's no problem. This Clipper team still comes away with a victory. Coming into this season, you weren't sure. James Harden was going to have to play so well. He talked about at media day, a lot of this offense is going to be, in his words, a lot of him, and it has been. But at the same time, other guys continue to play well because of the gravity that is paid attention to him on the offensive end. The Clippers really finding their style through the last 2 games of this 5-game homestand.
Yeah, other guys contributing. Amir Coffey, another double-digit game off the bench. Some key three-pointers. It was down to a 15-point game. It was getting a little bit sketchy in the fourth quarter. There's still plenty of time left. Amir comes in from Nico Batum and immediately knocks down a three-pointer in the far side corner. And the ball movement by this Clippers team, 27 assists on their 41 made shots. Just pristine tonight. I love the way they were moving it. I know there were a lot of turnovers. Some of them came in inconsequential time, but there were some great possessions when they had to execute late. With those timeouts being called from Coach Lue, he drew it up. They were able to deliver.
They were able to deliver. The Clippers' out of timeout plays were excellent. The vertical threat with Derrick Jones Jr. got him a couple of dunks. Amir Coffey, an open corner 3 on one of them. The Clippers really executed late, and that's why you see the assist number up to 27 today for this Clipper team. They moved the ball well on the offensive end. They got guys involved, and they were efficient. I mean, this starting group, Adam, was super, super efficient today. Only James Harden shot below 50% on the ball game out of the 5 starters for the Clippers. They spread the wealth around. They made shots when they were open, and they dominated. And they came in this game with a little bit of that chip on their shoulder. You could see it from the start. This team was playing hard, especially Norman Powell. I thought he was uber aggressive when he was matched up against Paul George, and he showed out with those 26 points and 6 assists, matching a career high. Clippers, a good win to build on. Now you want to keep building on this win as you go to a Sacramento team that's sitting at 5-3 to start the year.
Yeah, and as much as we've talked about Paul George in this one, the most important thing is that the Clippers got a victory against him. That's what this is about right now. This Clippers team showing up and not turning it into just an individual battle out there. Well, we got some of that between him and Norman Powell in the second half. More importantly than that, the Clippers ended up with this big W. They did get 4 turnovers from PG-13, who at one point, what was he, 4 of 4 or 5 of 5 to start from the field?
Yeah.
He was spectacular. He hit a couple of tough shots in the fourth quarter right away over a double team with Chris Dunn and Nico Batum. There aren't many tougher double teams that hit a shot over than that. Then another one over Chris Dunn. The offense was there. The beautiful jumper was there, but he only got up 9 shots total in his 24 minutes. Still seems to be on that minute restriction. And, of course, when the Clippers are up big like this, it kept him there.
Yeah.
So this Clippers team, they won the battle and the war, you could say, in some ways. They did it all in this one. They won the individual battle with Paul George being back, and they also took care of their business in just getting a great team victory.
Yeah, 2 wins for them today. 100% agree. They were able to keep Paul George, for the most part, in check and come away with a win in this one with those 27 assists. They were out rebounded today, which is a new one for the Clippers, but 54 points in the paint. That is the 6th game of 7 games this season. The Clippers finish with 50-plus points in the paint. They looked comfortable today, Adam. I think that's what stands out to me. The Clippers looked comfortable. They looked composed. They looked like they knew where they were going on the offensive end. And on the defensive end, they were in every passing lane. Anytime anybody drove, they double-teamed them. I mean, Tyrese Maxey finished this game with just 12 points in 31 minutes. Took him 13 shots to get to those 12 points and finished 1 for 6 from 3. The Clippers made him a non-factor today on the offensive end, a guy who was leading this team, averaging 30 to start the season. And so we'll see if the Clippers can find a way to continue to disrupt excellent point guards. You got another one in De'Aaron Fox over there in Sacramento. A good one for the Clippers, Adam. And you got more coming, but hopefully you continue to build here today.
Clippers making the opposition uncomfortable. It's a great point by you, taking away the head of the snake, really, in Tyrese Maxey, who, while had been a volume shooter so far this season, taking 25 shots to get to the 30 points per game, still only getting up 13 in 31 minutes. The Clippers were doing a lot right out there. The rotations were much more crisp. I thought that even early on when Philly started off hot from 3. Well, they ended up shooting just 7 of 25 from distance, under 30%. So once again, Clippers get a team shooting under 30% here at Intuit Dome that started off knocking some down. Did they have 6 3-pointers in that first quarter?
Philly, I was just doing the math in my head. Philly was 5 for 11 after the first quarter and then went 2 for 13,
Well,
2 for 14.
Clippers brought out the monkey wrench to turn off the water or whatever it was, the faucet on the fire hose that started things off, or on the fire hydrant, I should say. Just an unbelievable defensive effort after that first quarter. Holding a team again under 100 points is special in today's league, especially. Clippers win 110-98. They take down Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers here at Intuit Dome. Clippers' next one, as Carlo mentioned, up in Sacktown. Tip time for that one, same as tonight at 7 p.m. from Golden One Center against the Kings. We'll have your pregame show starting right back here at 6. Carlo, great call as always. Safe flight up north. Get some Jim Boy's tacos.
All right, Adam, the local giving me the wreck. Let's go.
Coming up next, we got second half highlights. Clippers pull away with this one, win big. Hey, they don't all have to be close games. Glad to be wrong about that one. Clippers win 110-98 over PG and the Philadelphia 76ers here at Intuit Dome. Clipper Nation was on point tonight. Pat yourself on the back, especially everybody at the wall. More on that coming up here in your Clippers postgame show on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
W's. Thanks, Kitty.
What was the yelling going on? I don't know if you guys could hear that. Somebody was, having a good time tonight. So was Clipper Nation. How about it? Chat, sorry, I've been busy. Dominique Carter, good win, Clippers. Ooh, did Batum twist his ankle? Is that why he went out for Amir Coffee, guys? I didn't see that. Jason, best D of the season. Okay. He also gave Coach Lou credit again earlier. That's 2 games in a row. Wild. Coach Lou has been incredible to start this season, guys. Point blank. The sense of urgency with timeouts. I'm going to go back to the game they were up 21 against Phoenix, and then the third quarter it got down to 17, and he said, that's enough. Timeout, timeout. He was good in that game. They lost it. It wasn't on him. Coach Lou has been incredible. Impeccable timing to stop runs. Early fourth quarter again. Quick timeouts. Love seeing it. Yawing Tears said, if I'm being overly critical, felt like the Clippers got away from feeding Zoo for a while there. Think they should keep him in the mix consistently. Was it because they were knocking down so many three-pointers, though? Like, if the offense is still working, that's okay. Norman Powell with 6 assists, tying a career high. Tying James Harden in this game with 6 assists. I am really excited for this squad. Lose 2 in a row, lose 3 in a row, win 2 in a row. Quality wins. Feel me flow now, feel me flow. Clippers win 110-98 here at Intuit Dome. They get one off of PG. Now with the enemy playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, Paul George goes home a loser tonight. Everybody at the wall was animated and into it. Every time he touched the ball, he was being booed. Clipper Nation, you showed up in a huge way in this one and performed. Paul George also was pretty good in the ball game. You can't not say outside the 4 turnovers, at least, he wasn't. 7 of 9, 18 points, 2 of 3 from distance, hit some impossible shots, but who cares? Norman Powell was the best player out there on the court. 26 points on 10 shots. 26 points on 10 shot attempts is crazy efficiency. Why? Because he went 6 of 8 from 3. Guys, he's doing it over and over and over again right now. This is not looking like a fluke from Norman Powell. This is looking like a guy who's taking advantage of his opportunity. He just went 5 of 8 last game against San Antonio from 3. 3 of 6 before that, 4 of 11, 5 of 10, 7 of 11. He's had 2 bad shooting games from the outside total. And just 6 really good games from 3. He was shooting 45% from 3 heading into this one. That's only going up. He just hit 75% of his attempts from 3 here at Into a Dome and outplayed Paul George. He said it, addition by subtraction. He's backing up his talk right now. He is. And this Clippers team backed up a big victory where we wondered if they could carry over the momentum, winning that game against San Antonio, coming back down 26 into tonight's ball game. They did. It worked. It wasn't perfect. They were down after the first quarter. But that third quarter, they won it 33-17. And in that third quarter, Philly went 0 of 8 from 3. The Clippers started cooking. Paul George had 10-plus points in that third quarter. Didn't have a great game. And the Clippers still ran away with this one. Excuse me, James Harden had a great third quarter. Even though he was just 5 of 15, 1 of 6 from 3, just 18 points, 6 assists to 6 turnovers, had a really bad one late. Even with him looking tired, here was James Harden in the third. James Harden had 5 points at the half. He left the third quarter with 17. He had 12 points in that third quarter and really made a push the second half of the third. Clippers needed it. They led 84-68 heading into the fourth, and they really never looked back. Timely shots and timely threes like these. Norman Powell sending a message. He can do this. He can be a consistent starter in this league for a winning ball club. That's what he's out to prove right now. He's doing it. Clippers win 110-98 over Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers here at Into a Dome. Quick timeout. We'll come back. Remember, we got Clippers talk coming up on AM 570 LA Sports. If you want to get on early, 866-987-2570 is the phone number. I'm Adam Oslin, live from Into a Dome after another great victory by this Clippers squad. Can they turn it into a winning streak? Make it 3 in a row. We'll talk about that. They'll be in Sacktown on Friday. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. What up, chat? Well done, Katie. Well done interweaving the highlights like that since we didn't talk before the segment. It's okay. It's okay. Not a big deal. That's a big deal. Oh, there were some Paul George WTF turnovers, guys. I'd say 3 of his 4 were. Chat, Katie Newton says, you can't just hide behind your computers all the time. You got to call in too. 866-987-2570. Don't be scared. I want to chat with you. Am I tuning into the PG podcast? Oh, yeah. I want to hear his recap about this one. I haven't in a long time. Guys, who came up with the signage in the wall? PG, think before you speak. Who came up with that? PG, think before you speak. Was this some coordinated thing? It had to be. There were 5 different signs for the words. Who had that? Clippers win 110-98 over Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers. They send them home packing from home. I don't know where they're going next, but they're leaving the arena with a loss. They are 1-6 on the season. Clippers improved to 4-4. Clippers shot the free throws well, 16 of 19. Clippers had 5 players in double figures scoring wise, 7 players with 2+ assists. That's what I'm talking about. 27 assists on 41 made shots is a very high assist percentage. This was special. I love this performance, even with the amount of turnovers and some sloppy play late by the young guys. Look, Paul George played well. 7 of 9 shooting. Had a team high or tied a team high of 18 points for Philly. But they're 1-6. Only 12 teams have made the playoffs since the NBA ABA merger after starting 1-6 since 1976. Teams that start off the season 1-6, only 12 teams since 1976 have made the playoffs. I think Philly still will. I still think they have a great chance to be a top 5 team in the East once Embiid comes back. They might win at a 700 win percentage. They can turn this around quickly, and not all these teams had an opportunity to make it through the play-in since it goes back to 1976. But we aren't concerned about them. It's about the Clippers, and if they can get above 500 with a victory Friday night up in Sacramento, taking on the Kings, a Pac-Div rival, a quality opponent on the road, where they are 2-0 so far on the road. Clippers improved to 4-4. They win 110-98 here at Intuit Dome at home. Dome is home over Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers. Didn't look like any B team tonight. Lakers lost. Clippers won. Paul George's team lost because the Clippers won. More on that coming up on Clippers Talk. We'll get petty with it. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Outside of Los Angeles, we are leaving you until Friday night. Clippers up in Sacramento, taking on the Kings. Tip-off at 7, pregame at 6. Outside of LA, leaving you until then in LA. It's Clippers Talk next. No, you did remind me, I think. Well, that's my fault. I can get it at the beginning, though. Hey, Rish, should they still fire the GM? I don't know, because tell guys like Rish this, Charles Gardner. I can't help some people. Today was a good day. If you guys want to get on, 866-987-2570 is the phone number. What time are we going to, Katie? Okay. Hey, T-Man had a really good start to that third quarter, y'all. We going to talk about that? Terrence Mann, the spark to start off that third quarter. We going to ignore that? Rish just likes to say wild stuff. He wants to get put in timeout. Yes, ma'am. We looking for post-game quotes from Paul George, of course. I want to know if someone's going to ask him about that sign that you guys put up. Somebody put it up. PG, think before you speak. Wow, that is cold-blooded. I'll show it to you guys. That is cold-blooded. With everyone turning their back to him. This looks like a coordinated effort. There's some smaller signs, too, that say it. Woo. Clipper Nation is not happy with him. Remember, Coach Lou said, boo him during the game, love him afterwards. But you go about it how you want to. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, if I was grading Paul George's performance, I'd say it was about a B level performance as he loses to the team he called the B team in LA, his former team in the Los Angeles Clippers. They win 110-98 over PG's Philadelphia 76ers here at Intuit Dome. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Oslin, feeling a little bit spicy tonight after this one. With the signage I saw here, with the booing going on, with the Clippers getting the victory and Norman Powell outplaying Paul George, the guy he is replacing in the starting lineup with his scoring production. Well, we have a moment, though. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Eight 987-2570, 866-987-2570 is the phone number if you would like to get on. People in the chat at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side saying, I love that play when Dunn stole it from Paul George. Even though Paul George hit a couple of ridiculous fadeaways to start the fourth quarter on Chris Dunn, and one of them also with a double team with Nico Batum there, even though he went 7 of 9 from the floor, he only had 18 points. He had 4 turnovers. I thought he was okay. I thought I'd give it a B. That's my grade. A B for Paul George in this one. As in, you got to be better against this Clippers team and this defense that just held the Philadelphia 76ers to 98 points. So, Clipper Nation, you won the individual battle and you won the war winning the ball game. Individual battle against Paul George, I knew this one meant a lot to you. And there was a tribute video early on. I heard a couple of boos, but mostly cheers, I would say, during that. But every time Paul George touched the basketball, the wall was loud. It stood out. It was impressive. Now, the signage, I don't know. Some might think it's out of pocket. I'm interested to hear if someone asked Paul George post-game about people holding up 5 huge poster boards that said, PG, think before you speak. Whoa. That is cold-blooded. That is what happens, though, when you call your former team the B team. When you take shots at the organization, say you were stabbed in the back. I don't think he was ever stabbed in the back. I think they offered him $150 million, and he didn't take it because he felt jilted that they offered it to Kawhi first, and he did take it. If that's the case. Philly was always offering the max. He knew it was out there. He wanted a no trade clause. That wasn't going to happen either. They did not do him dirty. They treated him well. He had that performance in the bubble, and they paid him right afterwards. Handsomely. Even after the performance against Dallas and Derrick Jones Jr. in the first round this past season, they still were offering the 150. I don't think there's anyone in a position to complain there if I'm in Paul George's camp, yet it happened. So, You get it out of your system. And there will come a time where you're going to look back at this and say, hey, he was an all-time great Clipper. Top 5 Clipper ever. Helped them get to the Western Conference Finals for the first time. Tonight, though, I get the energy everybody was coming with. I have mixed feelings. I ended up seeing the tribute video early as I was here, 3 hours before the game. And I got a little bit emotional just thinking of that run. Thinking of Paul George stepping up in Game 5 against Utah and what he was able to do without Kawhi Leonard when everybody thought he was going to fail, coming off of what happened in the bubble. The bubble. Bubble pizza. I did. It made me nostalgic. I was thinking about Noah Eagle some, big brother Jake Warner. He's still a part of the TM squad here with the Clippers. That was a special run. Reggie Jackson's on Philly. So all this stuff is creating some conflicting thoughts and emotions tonight. But in the end, all I care about is getting that W and the Clippers being able to hold Paul George down enough. 4 turnovers, and there were some bad ones. Amir Coffey hitting a big 3-pointer in the far side corner on PG-13 in the 4th quarter. As he was cheating defensively, they caught him. And how about the guy who's taken over and picking up the slack without Paul George? Norman Stormin Powell. Are you kidding me? Look at the 3-point shooting the last 2 games. Make it 3, make it 4, make it 5. Make it make sense. 6 of 8 tonight, 5 of 8 last game, 3 of 6 before that, 4 of 11, 5 of 10. Like, he is on a heater. He was shooting 45% from 3 heading into this one, and he just went 75% from 3 on 6 of 8 shooting. And I think there was a little something extra between him and Paul George. Did you see some of those head-to-head possessions out there where they were guarding each other? They both exchanged fouls in the 4th quarter. But Norman Powell had 6 assists. And I think it was the best game passing-wise from Norman Powell in his Clippers tenure. I really do. He had a between-the-legs pass in traffic. He went between the legs and then had a kick out to the near side corner in the 3rd quarter to Terrence Mann for a 3. And then a few possessions later, he found airplane mode, skying for a right-handed hammer dunk on an oop from Norman Powell. The passing is the best I've ever seen it. Impressive. We heard about this part of his game. He had been working on it. More responsibility when it comes to playmaking. Guys, Norman Powell is backing up his talk. When people would say often Paul George wasn't backing up his, I'm going to be on my bully stuff. Norman Powell said him leaving was addition by subtraction, and he's backing it up. That's what's happening right now. That's what has materialized for this Clippers team. Norman's playing like a damn all-star. I said early on in the game, I said, get Norman Powell into the 3-point contest. Forget that. Get him into the all-star game if he keeps playing like this. Do both. He should have been in the 3-point contest last season. He shot 44% from 3. It doesn't make any sense. Why wasn't he invited? He was one of the best. Norman Powell's a badass. And he was here to perform and prove something tonight. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll get to your phone calls, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. Clippers win 110-98 over the Philadelphia 76ers here at Intuit Dome. Paul George starts off his post-Clippers late career resume with an L to his former team. It was just a B-level performance. That's what I saw from him. I don't know. Maybe I got to review the tape. B team with the win. 110-98 over the Sixers, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. So we got 2 more timeouts, right, Katie? I'm gonna ask. Guys, did that feel good? Did that feel like the Clippers front office made the right decision, maybe? Hey, it's early. But with the way Norman Powell's playing, he is supplementing that production from Paul George, right? And then some. I got to put up his 3-point shooting numbers right now. Like, we're looking at something crazy. Norman Powell is on a heater. I'm going his last 5 games. Norman Powell is shooting 53% from 3 his last 5 games. My goodness. He's 23 of 43 his last 5 games from 3, guys. Woo! You wouldn't go that far? I don't. If Philly doesn't win the championship in the next 2 seasons, like, look, it comes down to that. Welcome home, Paul George. But unfortunately, we can't let you get the victory. That's what Clipper Nation's saying tonight. Clippers win 110-98 here at Intuit Dome over their old friend and Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Oslin. This is your post-game show, Clippers Talk. If you're on the chat side, it's at Clippers Talk on YouTube. Let's get to the phones, man. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Tejas in Walnut. Tejas, what's up? You're on Clippers Talk with Adam Oslin. No. He's 23 for his last 43 from 3, Tejas. 23 for his last 43 from 3. That's 53%. And how about all the times, Tejas, his name has been brought up in trade talks? I'm guilty of this too. You know, over the last 2 summers, people have brought up trading Norman Powell. Like, well, maybe you can get something for Norman Powell. That's been the guy's name who's been thrown around, and he looks as indispensable as ever now. Yeah. 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 I get it, Tejas. I think that's a fabulous point. I think that is well put, that Jerry West was still that big voice in the room with a lot of weight when it came to those discussions of what to do about Paul George. So I appreciate the phone call, my friend. Good insight as always. But this Clippers team, like, I'm not going off this one game to say it was the right decision. Like, to pay $200 million, so you're over the second apron. You stay over it too long, you can have your picks frozen or put to the back of the line, your first round picks when they get them back. That's very concerning. You also couldn't have Chris Dunn on this team. You couldn't have Nico back on this team. You couldn't have Derek Jones Jr. back on this team. They have a ton of flexibility moving forward, because when people say, and it's so foolish to say, and I heard Draymond Green say it, and maybe he's biased because he wanted Paul George to be a Golden State Warrior, but he acted like, well, they got nothing for Paul George. Wrong. They got under the first apron because he left. That got them Derek Jones Jr. That got them Chris Dunn. That got them Nico Batum. You think those guys didn't impact the games tonight? Think Derek Jones Jr. and his 14 points on 5 of 6 shooting, a big three, couple of huge dunks, didn't impact the game? You think Nico Batum, a plus 11 in his 20 minutes, 7 points, knocked down a three-pointer, big jumper when they needed actually also to answer. I think it was one from Paul George. You think Chris Dunn and his defense hasn't been huge? He was a plus 17 in 18 minutes, like hounding Paul George, even though he hit a couple of those shots. I'm hearing people say, well, you guys are lucky Paul George couldn't play more. It's like, wait a second. He only got up 9 shots, guys. He got up 9 shots in 24 minutes. Maybe he would have played more if the game was closer. They did a good job denying him getting up more shots, or at least he just wasn't aggressive enough. What are we talking about? You're lucky Paul George didn't play more? He didn't win his minutes. He was a minus 11 in his 24 minutes. They'll see each other in 3 weeks. I'm sure Paul George will have something to say in that game if they're fully loaded, especially with Joel Embiid. But tonight, I know Clipper Nation is feeling good. Quick timeout, 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. You're listening to Clippers Talk on AM 570 LA Sports. Dude, Dunn was a sign and trade. Rishi Rish is getting a time. Rishi Rish is getting a time out for this one. Yeah, we'll do Will here. Yeah, it's just on YouTube now. Chris Dunn was a sign and trade. They wouldn't, yes, Will. They wouldn't have been able to do it if my guy, Rishi Rish, gets a timeout. Misinformation. No. They had cap space to use on him. They had still they didn't use all of the taxpayer mid-level exception. They made life tough on Paul George. He only got up 9 shots. I don't want to hear about how, oh, you're lucky you couldn't have played more. Stop it. He didn't win his minutes. They were a minus 11 when he was out there on the court, guys. Clippers got the win. Yeah, a lot of 76ers weren't that good. But Paul George only took 9 shots. If you're 7 of if you're 7 of 9 from the floor, you have to get up more shots than that. Period. That is on him. So yeah, I'm not falling for that. I didn't say it was an awful game, Johnny. I said it was a B game. I used the B stuff against him. No one said it was awful. But you're acting like they would have won if he just played more. That's not true. Clippers win 110-98 over Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers here at Intuit Dome. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Talk, whether you're listening on AM 570 LA Sports or on the YouTube side at Clippers Talk. I appreciate you here. You hear the music, you know what's up next. Big Will Updike after a huge win for the Clippers over Paul George. Will, how you feeling after this one? How about that? Last two wins didn't even end up in clutch time, and this one was over with about 3.5 minutes left. Coach Lou could comfortably pull the starters, even for some bad minutes for the Cups. But we thought, they're going to have to play close games all year. Guess not in this one, right? So, the Paul George situation. I got people in the chat acting like he had a great game because he went 7 of 9. I gave him a B for this game. I'm giving him a B. It was a B level game for Paul George. I may be taking a shot there with his B team comment. I thought he was fine. He hit some really tough shots, but he only got up 9. So I think the Clippers did their job. Yeah. I mean, he wore the costume. Like he loved it. If he couldn't realize that they were showing off the fun side of Paul George. That's the way I took that. Now, there's some comments post game from Paul George. First on Into a Dome, he said, quote, "It was great. I wish it would have been a little bit more packed out. I didn't think it was quite packed for this to be the Clippers' very own." Now, on the booze, regarding the booze, here we go. Paul George post game on the booze. Quote, "I mean, it's stupid. I was a free agent. It wasn't something that I demanded a trade or went against the team. There were cheers. I appreciate them. Those were the ones I played hard for. The booze, I didn't get it. I don't think he realizes that he dug his own grave when he called them the B team, when he said he was stabbed in the back. You talk out of both sides of your mouth enough, people aren't going to forget that. And did you see the sign that was out there tonight, Will? Did you see the signage that was there saying, PG, think before you speak? That was, whoa, that was cold. That was harsh. Yeah, I completely understand and can back up a lot of what you're saying here on Clippers Talk. It's Big Will Updike from the Clips and Dip podcast after the Clippers win 110-98 here at Intuit Dome over Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers. As I didn't realize he signed into the link as well here. We'll bring him in so you guys can see him on the video side. I know right now you might not be able to hear him if you're watching at Clippers Talk, but if you're listening on AM 570 LA Sports, he's coming through loud and clear. And how about Norman Stormin Powell? Now, some people didn't want to see him in the starting lineup, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to talk about Norman Powell.
Yeah, I'll eat crow on that one. I just thought it's too small. It's too small.
He's making up for the production lost and then some with Paul George with his efficiency right now. It has been incredible, Will.
Oh yeah, it's been unreal, especially with James Harden's struggles, just from an efficiency standpoint. You know, he's still gotten around to getting numbers up there more often than not. But yeah, he's been absolutely essential. And you know, we talked a little bit about how you know, there was some criticism already coming down on Ty Lue about like how can we have stints of this team as currently constructed without one of Norm Powell or James Harden on the floor? That's just how quickly the conversation changed from should he even be in the starting lineup to what are we doing without Norm Powell on the floor at any given time? So I think it's absolutely incredible. And this is not, it's not unexpected. You know what I mean? Like he was always a guy that if you gave him a little bit larger of a role, he was going to be able to fill that. It's like a goldfish, you know, they can grow to the size of the enclosure. I think something like that. But you know, you give him a brighter spotlight, he's going to shine brighter. And I think that he is going to easily average 20 plus points this season. The efficiency probably won't continue at the same absurd clip that it's at right now. But we also got to talk about how, you know, I was concerned about the size. I think what we've seen from him on the defensive end of the floor in terms of like just effort and ground covered, quite frankly, has also been pretty impressive. I mean, he is not like he's not a slouch in that area, and everybody across his team is overperforming. You're looking at the second ranked defense in the NBA right now, and given once again, given the size constraints, I still do think that is pretty damn impressive. That's basically one. All right. In my book, that is one.
Yeah, there was a play in the fourth quarter where he D'd up Paul George hard. A foul was called on Norman Powell, and Coach Lue was clapping for him, loving the aggressive defense there. That individual battle was fun to watch in this one as Paul George then fouled him on the other end right afterwards. But he is Will Updike from Clips and Dip fame. Will, thanks for doing this tonight. After a huge victory for Clipper Nation in many ways. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to be back on after the boys are in Sacramento, and then again on the back-to-back when they're back home Saturday night. So let's go Clips. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Will only comes on after W's. If you didn't know, it's in his contract. We'll take a quick timeout. I'll come back. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Clippers take down Paul George and the 76ers 110-98 here at Intuit Dome. And you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network and AM 570 LA Sports. So, guys, what do you think about this quote from Paul George about the booze? Quote, I mean, it's stupid. I was a free agent. It wasn't something that I demanded a trade or win against the team. There were cheers. I appreciate them. Those were the ones I played hard for. The booze, I didn't get it. I don't think he understands. They're not mad that you left. They're mad that you burned the bridge on the way out for no reason and called them the B team. That is the problem, Paul. When you say that people are taking your quotes out of context when they're not, you're taking something out of context. You're not completing the context. You're contextualizing the situation of why Clippers fans are upset. You're leaving out important information here. Yes, ma'am. I want to know if anyone asked him about the think before you speak sign. That's what I want to know. That was Clipper Nation came with some heat on that. I don't know what to think. He also kind of took a shot at Intuit Dome. Quote, it was great. I wish it would have been a little bit more packed out. I didn't think it was quite packed for this to be the Clippers' very own. Coffee and Balls said he was hurt by the booze. Ex-Mongo Project said, now we know the booze getting to his head. People talk about Norm being a beast. I got a lot to get to in Clippers Talk After Dark. Not nearly enough time here tonight. So as soon as I get home, Clippers Talk After Dark, I'll remember to go to the bathroom first in case there's traffic. Rishi Rich is still wondering why he was timed out when he got the information wrong, and that's what we don't stand for here. Clippers win 110-98, back-to-back victories here at Intuit Dome. We wondered what would happen after coming back down 26. Can the Clippers make it a winning streak? Winning up north against the Kings on Friday night would do that, but they beat Paul George and the 76ers 110-98 here tonight. As some people in the chat still can't realize that if they had Paul George on the team, they wouldn't have been able to do the sign and trade for Chris Dunn when they traded Russell Westbrook back to Utah again. Just to make the point of not signing Paul George and what it was able to do for the team because they were under the first apron. With Paul George, they'd be over the second apron. Therefore, they wouldn't have been able to do that sign and trade for Chris Dunn. Some people in the chat can't understand that. So they're having a hard time tonight. They're having a hard time tonight. But that's okay. We keep moving. It's not about that. People in the struggle, Clippers are not. Clippers win 110-98 over the Philadelphia 76ers. Proud of this team bouncing back after losing 3 in a row. And it was a gut check time down 26 against San Antonio on Monday. Wondered if something would be born out of that. We'll see. Love the effort tonight. Love seeing a victory over PG, who I still will have fond memories of and will appreciate for his time as a Clipper. And when all things are said and done, we'll be talking about him being a top 5 Clipper of all time. But tonight, this Clippers team, they got the victory. That's what's important. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization. Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez on the call, Big Brother Jake Warner, our head engineer here at the Dome, Katie Newton back in the bank, our producer. Until Friday night with the pregame show starting at 6 up in Sacktown, Clippers taking on the Kings. I will be leaving you unless you're at Clippers Talk on YouTube. We'll be back in 45 minutes with some Clippers Talk After Dark. Oh, we getting spicy with it. Thank you, Kate.